So good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here and present you with actually, it was supposed to be the first, but something happened, so I'm happy to be here, but still. I'm a bit nervous to introduce myself because I can see my name is quite weird, at least for you. If you really want to know how it is pronounced, I can tell you that it is Zixuan. Yeah. Okay, I'm already embarrassed. Okay, so without further ado, let us get into the topic. Change slide, please. Okay. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an open mind. Marcom Forbes. As a student from China, I can absolutely agree with this quote, as my culture puts a strong emphasis on education. Probably the most intense in the whole world. Look at these pictures. I feel so sorry for these teenagers buried in the piles of books. Change, please. Nowadays, we live in a rapidly changing world, which means what we are spending so much effort to squeeze into our heads today will be invalid or proven false tomorrow. So what is the sense of spending a quarter of our life in school? And why is quality education still one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations? The answer to this lies in the main idea of International Baccalaureate, or IB. IB is famous for its high-quality education and the path to the best universities on the planet. Statistics shows that the average acceptance rate of IB students into university is 22% higher than that of the total population. But what makes IB so marvelous, and what differs it from other educational systems like Montessori or Alive? In my opinion, the answer can be summarized into 5 points, which I will present with the help of the learner profile. Open-minded and communicator. IB has been designed to be an international program ever since it was first founded in 1968. In fact, the original purpose of IB, according to official sources, is this: to provide an internationally acceptable university admissions qualification suitable for the growing mobile of population of young people whose parents were part of the world of diplomacy, international and multinational organizations. Sorry, you can go back? I haven't finished. In order to design a course that will be globally accepted, a standard system of teaching and assessment is crucial. IB strives to figure out the values that will be universal, no matter where you come from or what religion you practice. IB spreads the merit that will be precious in every corner of the world. IB also focuses on communication by teaching a second language. IB is totally open and tolerant towards diversity, but it really wants its students to regard every culture with equal respect. Secondly, principled and knowledgeable. A feature of IB is that it teaches skills instead of knowledge. Just as Maimonides once said, "Give a man fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." In our case, the scattered points of knowledge are like the fish, and the ability to acquire the knowledge by oneself is the skill to catch fish. In such a technically developed world as we have today, schools are no longer the single conveyor of knowledge. I believe that all of you sitting here searches on Google, reads books in the library, watches news on TV, and even talks to ChatGPT. But there is something that this gadget can't and will never tell us. This is the ATLs, approaches to learning. Computers cannot think critically and creatively, and the AI, despite knowing the languages perfectly, cannot socialize with empathy. But as you might have noticed, these amazing powers cannot be transferred instantly into your brain. In fact, they have to be enlightened subconsciously through daily practices. But IB schools give us the adequate environment and conditions to do so. Thinkers and inquirer. IB puts effort to demonstrate that learning is a fun experience instead of a tedious obligation. What IB wants its students to possess is a powerful inner drive to their own learning. I believe that all of you have suffered from reciting fragments of text or remembering mathematical formulas. What IB can change about this is by encouraging students to get this knowledge by themselves through research and experiments. When one is devoted to a subject because he loves it from the depths of his heart, he will never say that the job is tiring. And when one constantly searches for an answer to his question, he will never complain that the job is boring. Reflective and risk taker. IB does not produce workers of society, but independent leaders of the world. Just as British author Ken Robinson stated, one rule of education is to awaken and develop creativity. Instead, we have a culture of standardization. A typical worker does not have his own opinion and does not dare to step out of his comfort zone. A good IB student, on the other hand, should correct his own errors and even that of his teachers. Change, please. Okay. I believe that making the students able to reflect and challenge authority is one of the things that differs education from manipulation or propaganda, whose goal is to mass-produce obedient workers on assembly lines. But this is not what IB is trying to do. The last point is about caring and balance. IB encourages the students to be compassionate and make contributions to the community. What we learn is one thing, and how we use it is another case. We took for society, and we should return it in another form. And here is where our main theme of the day, sustainability, comes in. As previously mentioned, IB fosters tolerance between people, which paves the way to a peaceful world with equality. Moreover, IB underlines the concept of balance, which means to keep a healthy lifestyle with respect to nature. Lastly, IB pays attention to love and kindness in forms of community actions and voluntary projects. In the end, I would like us to repeat together something that we are truly familiar with, the learner profile. Inquirers, open-minded, knowledgeable, caring, thinker, risk-taker, communicator, balanced, principled, and reflective. By keeping these important values in mind, we'll be on our way to become qualified global citizens as well as lifelong learners. Here are the sources of my presentation, just to remind you that academic integrity is important in IB, just as in everywhere else.